Good evening, this is DEREKH Chamblee, broadcasting from Chamblee, Atlanta, the next great American city, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the 2017 civil defense of the United States of America. And it's winding up on 8 o'clock in the evening here in Chamblee, Atlanta, and it's July 5th. 2017, following some of the news articles in the cyber world, a very interesting article today about National Public Radio in a series of something like 5,000 tweets, tweeted the entire text of the Declaration of Independence, and there was quite a backlash. Some of the comments on Twitter were that it was propaganda and whatnot. At any rate, we have for you today another edition of CYBERCYRCLETYME, and we're going back to its great debate, Trump path, Lincoln, Douglas, and this is from the full text of the Lincoln-Douglas debates. This is dated, this is when they were in Jonesboro, Illinois, September 15th, 1858. And we're going to pick up the speech of Illinois Senator Stephen Douglas, who was running for election to the Senate, and he's running against Abraham Lincoln, and they agreed to a series of joint debates. And this one is from September 15th, 1858. Mr. Douglas' speech, I'm going to pick up his speech down a little bit, a few paragraphs down. You can get this on archive.com, archive.org. If you Google Lincoln Douglas debates full text. At any rate, here is the speech of Senator of Illinois, Stephen Douglas, who at times had been criticizing Abraham Lincoln for his references to the Declaration of Independence, which stated all men, from the Founding Fathers, stating all men are created equal. And we'll pick up the speech of Senator Douglas, Trumbull and abolitionism, against that illustrious senator, period. Well, that's part of a sentence there. Let's see. Let's back up. We'll pick it up a little bit further down here. Okay. Mr. Lincoln likens that bond of federal Constitution. Mr. Lincoln likens that bond of federal Constitution joining free and slave states together as a house divided against itself, and says that it is contrary to the law of God and cannot stand. When did he learn, and by what authority does he proclaim, excuse me, that this government is contrary to the law of God and cannot stand? It has stood thus divided into free and slave states from its organization up to this day. During that period, we have increased from 4 millions to 30 millions of people. We have extended our territory from the Mississippi to the Pacific Ocean. We have acquired the Floridas and Texas and other territories sufficient to double our geographical extent. We have increased in population, in wealth, and in power beyond any example on earth. We have risen to a weak and feeble power, from a weak and feeble power, to become the terror, and an admiration of the civilized world. And all this has been done under a Constitution which Mr. Lincoln, in substance, says is in violation of the law of God and under a union divided into free and slave states, which Mr. Lincoln thinks, because of such division, cannot stand. Surely Mr. Lincoln is a wiser man than those who frame the government. I hold that a Negro is not and never ought to be a citizen of the United States. I hold that this government was made on the white basis by white men for the benefit of white men and their posterity forever, and should be administered by white men and none others. I do not believe that the Almighty made the Negro capable of self-government. I am aware that all the abolition lecturers that you find traveling about through the country are in the habit of reading the Declaration of Independence to prove that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mr. Lincoln is very much in the habit of following in the track of Lovejoy in this particular by reading that part of the Declaration of Independence to prove that the Negro was endowed by the Almighty with inalienable right of equality with white men. Now I say to you, my fellow citizens, that in my opinion, the signers of the Declaration had no reference to the Negro whatsoever when they declared all men to be created equal. They desired to express by that phrase white men, men of European birth and European descent, and had no reference either to the Negro, the savage Indians, the Fiji, the Malay, or any other inferior and degraded race when they spoke of the equality of men. And that's from Senator Stephen Douglas, Senator of Illinois, on September 15th, 1858, with quite a different view of not only the Constitution, but also a different view of the Declaration of Independence compared to Abraham Lincoln's view. This is Derek Chamblee. Wednesday, July 5th, 2017. Thank you very much. Good evening. This